Hello, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Here in beautiful Tecolote Canyon in San Diego, Clairemont, Mesa neighborhood. And I kind of want to do an ode video today. I'm surprised it's taken me this long, but I want to do an ode to a plant I know I pointed out a lot, and you're looking at it right now. I want to kind of do a shout out video or an ode video to this beautiful thicket forming awesomeness right here. This is, of course, lemonade sumac or lemonadeberry, Rhus integrifolia, at some of its finest right here. Of course, if you've seen my spotlight video on this plant, you will remember that I do show a lot of reverence for this plant. And also, if you've seen a lot of my other lower elevation coastal videos, coastal canyon videos, again, I showcase this plant a lot. And there's a reason why. It's just I find it to be so fascinating. Its variability of growth, how large it can get, how much ground it can cover is just absolutely phenomenal, and it's always been a source of interest for me. Just how incredible these plants can grow, incredibly large, wide, sometimes very tall, how much ground they can cover. If you've ever been in these coastal canyons and foothills in coastal sage scrub and chaparral, you have most certainly come across this plant, if it's mostly below 3,000 feet, where you have some coastal influence at least. You have come across Rhus integrifolia right here. I just felt that I needed to do a shout out because, as you can see, look how extensive the thickets of this plant can get. Look at that. All the way up there. That's all part of the same little lemonade sumac or lemonadeberry grove. It's like they formed their own thicket forest that goes on and on and on. I am just absolutely in love with this. Here's what the fruit looked like. Relatively flat on one side and rounded or even square on the other. Excuse me. They just exude a natural beauty that is hard to describe. Best way I can qualify it is just looking at the way they grow, how they sprawl out, how they curl up, how they can get really tall. These guys have been known to get more than 20 feet tall. And it's just amazing. Love their long twigs, their long branches, those sticky red droops. You can stick those. You can stick those in lemonade to make like a lemonade-like drink. Put them in water, and there's maybe pour a little sweetener, and it's like you're drinking lemonade. They're very sticky, so you might want to use gloves because they will get sticky on you. And it's just an absolute piece of awesomeness in our landscape. Of course, we also have lemonade sumac's relative, western poison oak, right here, Toxicodendron diversilobum, which is also a member of the Anacardiaceae, the Cashew family, like lemonade sumac. And lemonade sumac is a very, very resinous plant. If I remember correctly, the leaves, when they're crushed, they do have a little bit of aroma, but people who are allergic to a lot of plants might get a rash or something from handling the sap of this plant. So you know, caution is urged. So you see here, they do have very resinous wood. So people with sumac allergies will definitely not want to touch it. But regardless of that, these are just incredibly awesome thickets of shrubs, and I love it when they grow like this. When they grow in these humongous stands, just makes my day to see it. They actually had to, looks like they had to trim it to do trail maintenance over here. But you can see, these things get very large, very widespread, and occasionally you'll see them like almost like a single trunk tree. So lemonade sumac or lemonade berry is a plant that is supposed to be quite well amenable to cultivation. You can grow it, and after you do some maintenance to get it established, you pretty much leave it on its own, except for maybe, you know, maybe some pruning here and there in case it grows out of bounds. But I think they're natural, wiry, sprawling and spreading, and also very upright branching is what makes them so charming to me. Of course, there are your leaves. Sometimes they have teeth along the edge, sometimes they don't. Lemonade sumac, and is a very close relative of sugarbush, Rhus ovata, aka sugar sumac, which is usually more of an inland and foothill plant, usually replacing this as you go further inland and higher in elevation. But they do grow together, and they can hybridize together. See, Rhus ovata, the leaves are much broader, larger, even shinier, and folded up like a taco, like laurel sumac. But sugar sumac is much more cold tolerant than lemonade or laurel sumac. And these two can hybridize. Lemonade sumac and sugar sumac, or lemonade berry and sugar bush, if you like, will hybridize with each other and produce plants with intermediate traits. I've seen it on a good few occasions where I could tell I was looking at a hybrid. But I just love the branching structure of this plant. I always get such a joy out of seeing these when I'm here in these coastal areas. They just, to me, they are just part of the cheer of the landscape. You can see them growing up towards the houses up there on the hill. And this plant will spread out. It typically prefers being out in the open, but it has been known to occur also in the woodlands here, right next to toyons. The toyon there. And even at the edges, and sometimes even in the understory of woodlands, sometimes you'll find this shrub growing. Occasionally these guys can be known to get up to tree size, or at least in proportions.